Hey everybody, we're going to be looking at our next set of root words, which are vis and vid, which believe it or not are related, even though S and D are two very, very different letters. So let's take a look at this stuff, shall we? These are one root word, it's two versions. They come from the Latin videre, which means basically to see or to seem, and things related to vision and seeing. And we are going to, again, add affixes to make some words. The first one is visage, okay? This is a word you may not have heard before, but you can look at it. You know that things that end in age a lot of times are nouns. We've worked on that already, and it's something to do with vis. And so somebody's visage is like their face or what you can see on their face. So it can be like how they look, like how attractive they are, or it can be like, if they're scowling or smiling, it's what you can see on their face. Visibility. Okay, so if we look, we've got vis. That's all well and good. And then we've got visible. So something that's visible, that would be the adjective that would be like the ability to be seen. But then we add a third, ity, which then turns it into a noun, into a thing. So visibility is the thing, the idea of how much you can see. Pilots would use this a lot. They'll say there's low visibility, so the airplanes can't take off from the airport. And that just means that there isn't a lot of ability to see. All right, the next one is a vista. Okay, and this TA isn't really a suffix, it doesn't help us a lot, but the vis part does. Okay, a vista, if I'm looking out on a spectacular vista, I'm looking out over something in nature that is very beautiful and I can see it. It's like a beautiful scene spread out before me. So, the idea of seeing is in there in this vis where it's like this beautiful view that you can see in nature. All right. Now we're getting into some that are a little less straightforward. Okay, you've heard the word evidence, when it comes to, like, say, a crime. They collected enough evidence to implicate this guy and arrest him. Okay, great. How does that relate to vid or vis? And the way I look at it is it's things that you can see or sometimes perceive that prove something. So if I'm saying find the evidence in the text, you should be able to see and find and point to something. Okay, we know it's a noun because it's got the ENCE at the end. So it's kind of just a thing hanging out there. Things that you can see that prove something. Okay, now we're getting even more abstract, and you should know that for these next two words, we're not going to expect you to use see or seem in your definitions because they're a little bit ridiculous. No, I won't say ridiculous, but they are definitely less obvious, and knowing the vis and vid doesn't help you as much. So advise. The important thing I really want you to remember here is if you advise someone with an S, you're doing the thing, because ISE and IZE are verbs, okay? The thing that you give would be advice with a C, and I see those misspelled all the time, okay? But if you're giving someone advice, you're telling them what they should probably do, okay? You're advising them. It's the thing you do. All right, the last one is even more sort of abstract and a little harder to wrap my mind around the vis and the vid, is Providence. Okay, in addition to being a city on the East Coast, it is the idea that something was provided for you by a deity, by a god. So like, this is Providence, means it was just given to you. It was provided when you need it. So this one is super abstract. It's like thing you can see that was provided by, the god or goddess that you're talking about. So we're not going to, again, for advise and providence, you don't need to use the words see or seem in your definitions because they're just kind of abstract. All right? Next steps, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to do vocab check number 2, your Vis and Vid notes. They're on paper again. Make sure you follow directions for the definitions, especially because remember, there's 2 of them that you don't need to use the word see for, but for the rest of them, you definitely do. All right? And learnerdictionary.com is a good place to start for definitions. They do have to be in your own words, but that doesn't mean you can't start in the dictionary. All right, you have an excellent day and ask your teacher if you have any questions. Thank you.